Hi, boys and girls. It's Art with Mrs. R. So I want to share my screen with you because I want to show you what we're going to need today in the way of supplies for our art project. I'm really excited. I just got this brand new watercolor set and it has so many colors in it. I'm so excited to try them all. I picked this up at Michael's in case you're curious. It was like, oh, I want to think with my coupon, like $4 or something. It has all these awesome colors in it. I ran out of blue. Remember, we were talking about that before because I use it all the time. And so I needed to get a new one. So I went to Michael's and they had this and I used my coupon and got such a great deal on it. So anyway, you're going to need your watercolors, water for the watercolors, a napkin, eraser and pencil, of course, your Sharpie like we always do, and red, orange, yellow, and black crayons. Just go ahead and gather those things up and go ahead and press pause until you got all these things, and of course paper too as well. Gather up your supplies and then come back and join me, okay? All right, for those of us that are ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and move some of these supplies that we're not gonna be using right now. We're gonna start out with so I always start it with my clean piece of paper and then my scratch paper underneath. As you know, that helps to save the table and keep it from getting really dirty and yucky. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing you're going to do for our super cute Valentine's Day bumblebee is you're going to start off by drawing a heart. Okay, so just draw any old shaped heart. It can be a skinny heart, it can be a fat heart, it can be a short heart, a tall heart, whatever you guys want to do. Okay, so how you draw a heart is you start at the top and go up and straight down, okay? And then you do the same thing on this side, go up and down and meet at the bottom. So it's, the hearts don't have to be symmetrical, which means that they're exactly the same on both sides. In fact, sometimes when they're not, it's actually cuter. So all right, so go ahead and draw your heart. And once you have your heart drawn on your paper, you're going to need to make the body of the bee. So I'm just going to make a kind of a, not like perfectly round, a little bit on the oval side shape for the body. Okay, and then, so just do that around the heart. And then I'm going to add some wings. So our wings are like two backward C's. And then this way is two forward C's, but they're almost like C's that you flattened out, like smushed them a little bit. Okay. So go ahead and do that. So two C's on this side and two C's on that side. All right. And so now we need to add some eyes to our bee. So we're going to draw a circle up here and a circle like that. Okay. So that's the eyes of our bee, and then we're going to draw some pupils just like this on our bee. Whoops, just like that. Okay. Then after we have done that, we need to add a smile and some antennas for our bee. Make little balls at the end. You can make them as swirly as you want. I just made mine like that, but it's up to you. Give me a great big smile. He's a happy bee, or it could be a she also. Okay, so we need to add a little bit more to our bee. We're going to add some stripes. So just go behind the heart here and add your first stripe. Draw another line for another stripe. And so you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. Okay, and then we're going to do one more thing. We're going to go around the outside of the wings and we're going to make them a little bit bigger. So we're going to go around and just kind of copy that shape like this. You can see mine just isn't exactly around it, but it actually looks better when it's not perfect. Okay. So after you've done that, then you're going to add a little line down like that. I'm going to add a little triangle, and that's the little stinger of the bee. And then we're going to add some little hearts. So you can just kind of put these anywhere you want them to be. Get it? Anywhere you want them to be. Just like this on your page. Different sizes will work, kind of however you want to do them. And then I'm going to draw this little line. It's kind of like the little line our bee made, kind of buzzing all around the place. Okay, like that. All right, so that's pretty much it for our bee. You can write a little message in here on the inside if you want. And again, if I'm ahead of you, please pause the video so you don't get too far behind, and then catch up, and then you can come back and continue with Mrs. R. So I'm just going to draw the words be, like normally the word be, like be mine would be just be, but we're kind of making a play on words, so we're writing the word like the animal, the insect bee, be mine, and kind of squeeze it in there. Okay, like that. So of course, you know, after you do the drawing part, then it's a Sharpie time, right? Okay, so just take that off your Sharpie, and then go ahead and trace all of your pencil marks, just like this. And if you get off the pencil lines, it's totally okay, because we're gonna erase the pencil marks anyhow. Remember how we always do that? Okay. Around this, down this. And this is a cute little Valentine's bee, even though Valentine's Day is over, that's totally okay, because we can always show love to people any time of the year, right? And since it's still February, I think it's still good. We can still draw these cute little themes for Valentine's Day. Okay. And like that. Just the smile and the heart. Definitely going to have to do some erasing, because I kind of went off the lines. But like I said, it's totally okay. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm just going to go over these little buzz lines. You know, when people say make a beeline, that's kind of how bees, they kind of travel all over the place, don't they? So that's just showing a little path of our bee. So again, if I'm ahead of you, go ahead and pause now until you get all your Sharpie lines done, okay? All right, so I'm just going through now, of course, after you do your Sharpie lines, we always do the erasing. So just go ahead and erase anywhere you see Sharpie line or pencil lines, because we don't need those anymore. Those were just a guide for our drawing. So today, the reason our class is not live is because today is National Random Acts of Kindness Day. And so I've been talking with my kindergartners about, you know, what could we do to show random acts of kindness. And so a suggestion was made to go to the North County Food Bank, which is located in Battleground. And they provide food for families, which include kids that may not have food to eat. So what they do is they rely on donations. People bring food down there, and then they give the food out to make boxes, food boxes for people who need it, which is really great, you know? It's a really good thing that they do. So we were going to go down there, and we are, as a class, if everyone likes to join us, we are going to bring food down there. So that's kind of a cool thing. So yeah, so that's why we're not having class today, because that's what we're doing. So that's where we're at. But yeah, so just wanted you to know what was happening with class today. All right, so I am going to color in my heart red, but you could use purple or pink or whatever color that you like. It's a Valentine's Day color. And then I'm going to do my bee mainly in yellow, but of course the stripes will be black. So let me go up in here. And then remember, like if you do a stripe, you would do this stripe black, and then like in between here would be yellow. Okay, so you got to kind of remember how you'll be doing your stripes so you don't get confused. So I'll go do those real quick so you can see how I did mine, because I know some of you are really fast. Okay, so there's how I did the body. And then I'm going to color the little triangle here yellow too. And then I'm going to do the outside of the wings in yellow. Like this. Let me get closer so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to do this outside wing in yellow as well. And then I'm going to do the centers of the wing. I'm going to do kind of an orange color and something different. Make it stand out a little bit. So just like that. Let's color that in with your crayon. Okay, and then I'm going to do the stripes in black. Like this. Because, you know, bumblebees have little stripes on them. So bees are kind of cool insects. They are like totally necessary for our survival. If we didn't have bees, we would not have food, because bees pollinate all the plants and help them to grow food. And so, you know, bees, if we didn't have bees, then what would happen would we wouldn't be able to grow food. And then, of course, you know, things like animals, like cows and chickens and so on, they eat food that's needs bees as well, like, you know, the grains and the grasses and the things they eat. So we'd be in a whole lot of hurt. We wouldn't have food. So bees are so important. They're pollinators, and they are so important to keeping our environment healthy and allowing us to have food. So I really appreciate all the hard work that bees do. And also another cool thing that bees do is they make honey. So I don't know if you like honey, but I use honey in a lot of my baking, and I'm sure your moms and dads probably use honey too for other things. I put it in my tea. I guess honey is supposed to be good too if you have a cold. So anyway, bees do a lot of good things. Okay, so after you get your picture completely colored in, then it's the time to get out your watercolors. I'm so excited. I had to use my new watercolors. So we're going to color the background. Now, kind of, let's see, let me move this over here, so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to pull out my handy dandy scrap paper behind there so I don't get on the table. Oof, so excited to use these new paints. Oh, wow. Looks like that is tape in there. I'll pull that out. All right, so of course, when you use a brush, you got to get it wet. And I think I'm going to use blue. I always like blue, seems like kind of my go-to background color, but I've got all these shades to really pick from. Yikes. So fun. So now when we do a blue background, we want it to be light. So I'm going to add some quite a bit of water to my blue. And then I'm just going to start coloring it. I love it. So fun. I love watercolors. They're just a fun art medium to use. An art medium means things, tools that you use to make art. So it could be paints, watercolors, crayons, markers, Sharpies, all the way down to like your pencils, because some people will draw art with just pencil only. So art medium means like the different tools you use to create your art. So in this case, our art medium is pencil, Sharpie, crayon, and watercolor. So yeah, all these vocabulary words that you guys know what they mean now. So that if someone says, what medium are you using for that art project? You'll say, well, I am using pencil, Sharpie, crayon, and watercolor as my mediums for my art project. And they'll say, oh, you're so smart. You're like, yeah, I know what that means. So, okay, I really like this blue. Really pretty. Okay, so just keep going with this. And again, I picked up this really big paint watercolor palette for like $4, you guys. It was just a really good deal with all these different colors like you could use. Of course, I used a coupon for it at Michael's, but your mom or dad knows what Michael's is. It's a, you probably do too. It's a craft store that sells art supplies and paper and craft supplies and just all kinds of stuff. So it's a really fun place for me to go. I like to go there. Just fun, especially for teachers, because we see all these fun projects we could do. Okay, so I'm just going around filling in my blue, and I like how watercolors work because you can see all the different um, shades of blue that we get. Really fun from using watercolors. So I'm going to be really careful when I'm going on the wings because I don't want to get any blue in there. I'll try my best anyway. Sometimes it happens regardless of what we do, right? But I'm try. Some water in there. And the spring comes and winter goes away. We'll start using some other colors too for making our pictures, and we do watercolors, so that'll be fun. Okay. Just keep going. Sometimes this is the part that takes the most time, isn't it, to fill in this empty space, because we don't want all this empty space. We want it to fill in, and then it really makes the focus of our picture, which is, of course is our bee, really makes it stand out, doesn't it? Because just on white, it's kind of plain, but when you put a color next to it, a different color, then it really makes it pop out of the picture. And that's what makes something visually interesting to look at. So a nice new collection of paints here looks so pretty and neat, but they're not going to look so pretty and neat after a while. After I use them, they're going to get messy, but art is messy, isn't it? And that's okay. Okay, halfway done. Just keep going, everybody. And if you don't want to use blue or you run out of blue, you can use another color if you like, Okay, I know we use blue often. We might have to change up our background, huh? You could use a different color for a background if you want. You don't necessarily have to use blue. You could use orange or green. That would be kind of fun. One of the colors, use a color that's not being used in the picture, and that way it'll make it stand out more. So, okay, so I keep going around with this. All right. Just I'm gonna be real careful when I go around these spaces here. Now you'll notice like that your paper may get a little wrinkly, and that's okay. Once um, your paper, you could always put it some napkins on either side. Gently put those on there, and you could to protect it, and you could also put them between a heavy book with these napkins. You'd have to put a napkin on top of it, but this heavy book, and then what'll happen is the heavy book, if you put it inside the heavy book, will force the paper to be, especially when it's damp, it'll help it to be nice and flat. If you want your paper, if it bothers you that your paper is a little bit wrinkly from the painting, there is a way to fix that, but you'd have to have your mom or dad help you. But you basically put a couple of napkins on top of the damp on the front and back on your picture. Very carefully set them on there, and then put them between, like open up a very, very heavy book, and then just set it inside there, inside the book. It'll dry, and what will happen is the page will be very flat because you put it inside the book. So just one way to flatten out your page. It doesn't really bother me personally, but yeah, some people like it flat. You can also, like, cool thing too, you could take all your art projects if you save them, and then you can punch holes in the sides here, line up all your pages, and then have your mom or dad help you punch holes in the side. And then you could take like yarn or string, and then you could bound them together, tie them together, and then you would have a really cool art book. And I think that would be really neat. And I kind of like the wrinkly pages. I think it makes it look really neat. And then this could be your art book from this year that you put together, which is really easy to do. An adult can help you with that. It's just simply putting all the pages together and punching holes, 3 holes in the corner on the left side here. And then, just like a book, and then you take string or ribbon and then tie through each hole of them together. And then you'll have a really neat art book, something you can save, or your mom can save it for you, because you've spent a lot of time working on these art projects. And so it's kind of a shame if you just throw them away. I used to save, like, my daughter, my oldest daughter, Hannah. I have a huge bin of just her art things that she did when she was in kindergarten, first grade. I saved all of it. I guess you can do that when you just have one, and then when you have more kids, you have to not save everything. But I did save all her artwork. I think it's so cool to look back at it. Okay, so I'm almost done here. It takes a little bit. Just have to be patient. You can always get a bigger brush too if you want to paint like large areas like this. It's kind of hard with a smaller brush. It takes a lot longer. But I guess, it's just be patient. But with a larger brush, you could definitely paint larger areas at a time. You wouldn't have to do these tiny little areas like this. So if you have a bigger brush handy, you could definitely do that. But I will say, the more water you put in your paint, it'll spread out quicker, spread farther, I guess. Okay. Okay, last little corner here. Getting there. Just keep going. And again, you could also, another idea is you could send this to a friend or a grandparent. It's always a nice surprise for them to get something in the mail. Grandparents love to get mail from their grandchildren. So that's something you could do too. That would be a nice thing you could do for someone else. It's nice for them to get special things that you've made by hand sent to them. That would be a real treat, something special and new. Okay. Righty. So let's see. Pieces here. Okay, so it looks like we're in this one little spot. Let me go back up here. These little edges here. Make sure I get all those. Okay, so clean my brush there in the water. Put the lid on my. Those are my new paints. Short. Okay, so move this out of the way. So you can see here we've got our nice little bee mind, very cute, turned out great. And you could do this again. You could make your bee bigger if you wanted to do this project again. You could add more than one bee to it. So it just kind of depends on how you want to make it. But yeah, so it turned out pretty cute. So I hope that yours turned out great. I'm sure it did. Make sure you take a picture of it on Seesaw and snap a picture with the tools. They have a camera on there you can use. And then you can send this as our picture of it. I would love to see it. Okay. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So I hope you guys have a great day. I look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye, everybody.